Are you ready?
I think so. So welcome to Her Launch Story. This is our first podcast, first episode. A little bit nervous, really hoping we're going to forget that the producer's behind the camera soon.
He says we're going to forget it in 2 minutes.
I don't believe him. They also said that I would forget the pain of childbirth soon after she was born, but that didn't happen either. So this podcast is called Her Launch Story. We recently, in the last year, both launched a business, and we wanted to share a really unfiltered, raw version of the emotions we went through and the stuff people don't necessarily tell you.
Yeah, and for a disclaimer, we are still very early on into this, phase of growing our business. So it's going to be questionable advice, but we want to take you along this journey and really share some of the moments that we spiraled about, some of the good things, some of the bad things, really everything that a lot of people just don't cover. So, so I think just to introduce ourselves, so I'm obviously the co-host of Her Launch Story. I'm Kelsey, and I am the founder of the VA House, which is a virtual assistant business. Over to you.
Thank you. I'm Amy. I run an HR consultancy. So we support SMEs with either outsourcing their HR support or ad hoc projects here and there.
Perfect.
Okay. So shall we get into the...
Yes, now that we've got all those awkward parts over and done with. Let's get into the episode, which is called Reality Hits.
Yes. So I guess the first reality check that we had before all of the stress and the panic of actually launching a business was really realising that we no longer wanted to be employed.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Where did that come from for you? What's your kind of background?
Perfect. So I have always known that I've wanted to do my own thing. I think that it took me some time because obviously it's a huge move. You lose that security of full-time employment with that set salary every month, almost that comfort zone. But I turned 35 last year and I decided that it was pretty much now or never. And I had also been following another virtual assistant business out in New Zealand. And, I was really inspired by her journey, really inspired by the success that she's had. I had multiple conversations with her to say, okay, tell me all, tell me the good, the bad, the ugly, give it to me. And I got off that phone call and I messaged my sister and I just said, it really is now. I feel so inspired. I feel so excited about this journey. Look, it was a bumpy start. I'm not going to lie, but we'll obviously get into that a bit more. I'm really happy so far, and
Good. And in terms of your kind of what led you to that then, were you always an EA? Was that kind of...
So I actually trained to be a teacher, and during my studies, I fell into the EA role and I really, really enjoyed it. I took on, so I've always done the traditional EA work, but I've also managed and led on projects for the companies that I've worked for. So it's just been, no day is the same. I've really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. And, I'm very fortunate that I've worked for many amazing CEOs in different sectors. So I've gained a lot of experience through my career. And I think that gave me the confidence to start my own business. I also know that you have not always wanted to be in the career that you have, or, you landed in it. So do you want to share that side of your story?
So I wanted to be a journalist and probably would still be a journalist if I had any say in the matter. But I basically, I don't know how honest to be here. My mum got a phone call from my college tutor and said, Amy's not coming to class. And
Whoopsie.
and she made me take my exams, even though we wasn't sure if I would even pass. Somehow I scraped to C, so that's a win for me. And then she made me get a job, and she made me go to work in an office, and I had absolutely no idea what HR was. It was an administrator position. That's what I went for. They offered me the job, very quickly learned what HR was, but I loved it straight away. because it can, you think of HR and there's a lot of people that think, oh, it's really dull, it's policies, it's processes, they're the police of the company and stuff like that. But there is a lot more to it, and there are some fun aspects. So obviously we both know I love being a bit of a detective, and that comes into it as well.
Well, that's a bit of a funny story because we certainly bonded over crime and all the crime stories. And
we didn't commit crime. Let's put that out there.
Yeah. We just enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I mean, how quickly can you ask someone you first meet them, how do you love a murder?
I know. It's we've definitely debriefed on all the crime. We follow a lot of stories that are happening now, and we'll constantly phone each other and say, what's happening? Have you heard this? Did you read this?
When does the trial start? It's yeah. That's our crazy obsession outside of work.
Indeed. So carry on a little bit more about the HR.
So, I mean, I was really lucky with all of my roles. I had a lot of autonomy.
Yeah.
And I've said to you before that I think I'm unemployable. And I think a lot of that was because I moved into HR consultancy probably about 10 years into my career.
Yeah.
And then the next 10 years, that was consultancy. So I was out of those office politics. I didn't have to necessarily answer to the people that I was supporting from an HR perspective. Yeah. And when you're a consultant, the people that are kind of talking to you and they're asking for your advice, they're paying for it, so they're going to listen to you.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it kind of got to the point where I was working with lots of companies. I was thinking how I would do things differently. I knew that I would really struggle going into another business and reporting into someone and answering to someone and them not necessarily taking my advice. And I thought, you know what, I've got to put my money where my mouth is. Mm-hmm. I need to launch something so that it can be mine and I can do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that for me was it. But I guess for you, it's very different. It's a huge leap.
Yes. It was. To say it wasn't would be a lie. It was very daunting. We live in such a digital world where it's hard not to compare yourself to others. So I think by having a little bit of like a bumpy, slow start, I think there was also some naivety in thinking that everyone was just going to come knock on my door. And obviously that's not the case.
No, so, as much as we'd love it to be.
It's not the case.
But I think that was the same for me as well. Like, obviously, because I've been a consultant, BD has always been a part of my role.
Yeah.
But I always had a big brand name behind me, or I had a team behind me, or a larger organisation that was feeding referrals and stuff. Yeah. And then kind of coming into it and this unknown new brand that what I didn't think of at the time, I don't even have HR consultancy in my name. Might have been a problem. It was on me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my goodness, if this doesn't work, how am I going to feed my children?
I know. And for you, it was also different because you brought, a team with you. So it's not just, your mouth to feed. It's the team that you've brought with you. So that's an added pressure of like, oh, this has to actually work. You know what I mean? Like there is no other option.
Yeah.
And I think we both went in knowing that this was going to be difficult and knowing that we were going to wear, additional hats that maybe we hadn't worn before. And, one of the things that you just said about, new business and sales, that's not an area of expertise for me. You know what I mean? I had to learn how to be sales, but without being that salesy element to it. And that I still find uncomfortable. Like, even doing this podcast, putting myself forward it's not natural for me. I've always supported C-suite individuals, and part of my role is to put them forward, to get them in front of the right people on the stage. It's not something I've ever done. So, it's been daunting.
And I think as well, you're not really prepared for, it's going to be hard, but you're not really prepared for how personal it feels.
Yes.
So when someone doesn't want to work with you,
or someone ghosts you,
or they don't reply, it's a bit like, oh my goodness, what did I say?
I know.
And then you start second guessing yourself, and then you think, oh, am I not as good as I thought I was? So yeah, it's really hard, and it is so hard not to take it personally.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, how many times have I phoned you and been like, well, this person hasn't responded to me in a day. Do you think they still want to work with me?
I know. And then how quickly can I send a chaser? And then what do I say on the chaser? And
And it's like, how many chasers can you actually send? You know what I mean? Before you become this annoying person.
And, you know, like you watch sales webinars and stuff and they say, oh, it's consistency. So I think it's something like you have to have 7 touch points before someone remembers that you're
wants
there.
to buy from you. Yeah.
But I'm like, I can't contact someone 7 times.
No.
It's just not me.
No.
But yeah, so it's hard. And then I think, you know, we've talked about this before as well, where you think you're prepared and there's always something.
Yes.
And you're a planner.
Yeah.
So that must be really hard for you. I'm more of a fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm not in that zone at all. I mean, even in my personal life, I'm a full-blown planner. Like that is just me through and through. So, yes, I try to be a million steps ahead, and then reality hits and it's not quite like that. I mean, you know, the one thing that was quite challenging in my mind is I've spent my entire career being employed by someone. So to have that shift from being permanently employed to now being an entrepreneur is, I've gotten a lot better with it because I'm a couple months in, but it's definitely still something that I struggle with. You know, even that 9 to 5 was so rigid that 9 to 5, that's the hours that you worked. You had an hour for lunch. You were always at your desk, etc., etc. When I first started, I was like, oh my goodness, what should I do with my day? Like, how do I fill it? Like, should I be sitting at my computer, just staring at my computer? Because I didn't have as much work in the beginning. I mean, I know you can relate to that as well.
100%, absolutely. It's a really strange feeling, and I think you force yourself to fill your time with stuff that's probably not valuable because you feel like you should be doing something.
Yeah.
And but I guess, you know what, there are positives because there's a lot of stuff that if we had people knocking on our door to work with us, all of the stuff that we managed to have time to do would have fallen to the bottom of the list. So, I mean, we'll talk about our spirals at a future episode, but like things like website and kind of socials and really understanding how we wanted to market ourselves and stuff like that. All of that stuff is really important, but quite often gets pushed to the bottom of the pile because when you're a startup, you have to run. Yeah. And I think so. It was good in a sense having that kind of very first couple of weeks or couple of months where we didn't really know what to do with ourselves. But it was hard.
Yeah, and there was also that guilt. You felt guilty. I don't know, like I felt guilty if I was taking a bit of me time that I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. You know, I've got to grow this business. There was so much pressure. Yeah. And I mean, look, I'm hard on myself. Everyone that's close to me knows that about me. So I think I set the bar very high. Yeah. And, you know, I'm also not very good at celebrating. So when I hit a milestone, it's like a quick pat on the back and then I'm running to the next goal. And I think it's really important to just sometimes take a pause. Yeah. Appreciate what you've achieved, what you've done, and then move on.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You know, especially when you're launching something new. And I mean, for both of us, yes, these are tried and tested businesses, but it's still nerve-wracking.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so...
And I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this podcast, isn't it? Because people only show you themselves on their best day on social media and stuff. So you see these founders and these entrepreneurs and startup businesses and it looks like they've had overnight success. And then that made us think, oh my goodness, what are we doing wrong? But I think if we hadn't have had each other, it would have been so much harder. Yeah. Because obviously we registered our businesses, a month apart? Yeah. We did pretty much everything together in terms of you texting me, did you know we had to register for the ICO? I'm like, no, what is that?
There was so many learning curves along the way, and it was yeah.
And I remember you phoned me and you was like, I have done so much in my career for other people and it doesn't faze me. And now I'm having to open a bank account and it's really panicking me because it was for you rather than someone else.
Yeah.
And it's just such a different kind of like kettle of fish, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, that is so true, because that was such a weird thing when I phoned you and I was like, I'm panicking about opening up a business account and I don't understand why am I stressing about this. And I mean, I had like registered other companies, registered for liquor licenses, like done so many things in my career, but because it was for someone else, I don't know, I had this maybe a bit more confidence with it, but when it became my own, I think it is natural to panic more because it's our reputation and it's, you know, we want to put our best foot forward all the time and we want to get things right.
Yeah, definitely. And ultimately, we're the brand.
Yeah.
As much as we have our brand colours and we have a kind of a vision for the companies and stuff like that. People buy people. Yeah. And so we have to put our best kind of foot forward. Yeah. So it is, it's a beast. I will say that.
Yeah. And if I wasn't phoning you, I was, I think, stressing my husband out at times. Yeah. All I can say is thank goodness for you, because I think he might have divorced me.
You never know. Aaron and Brad might have a little club together. Is she gone again?
Behind our backs.
Yeah. But that also, you know what, this could be a bit of therapy for us.
Yeah.
It's going to go one of two ways. Either it's going to trigger us and we're going to have nightmares, or it will be quite therapeutic and it will be our kind of creative outlet.
I think that was one of the main reasons for this podcast is, you know, as we've said in the beginning, to share our story, the good, the bad, the ugly, but also for us just to laugh about some of the crazy things that we've thought, or the moments of, you know, imposter syndrome or self-doubt, and just and that reminds me, actually, we both did this about 3 months in, obviously, but slightly separately, because you kind of soft launched, didn't you, and then you went into kind of full steam ahead. But both of us at the same point phoned the other and said, I think I should just go back to being employed. Yeah.
Maybe I've made a mistake.
I think that's a natural thing to feel.
Yeah.
You know, it is a safety net, and it's also yes, you have autonomy in your role, and you know, you get to work on projects and things like that, but you're still following someone else's vision.
Yeah.
There's limitations on what you can do, but now that it's your baby, it's your business, you open up to do more, and that can be overwhelming at times because you are running at a hell of a pace.
Yeah. And imposter syndrome is a real thing. It absolutely is. You know, like I've always presented, I've done webinars to 300 odd people, I've done seminars and stuff, and then I start Rokes Avenue, and then I have to speak to someone or speak to a team of 5 people, and I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to say the right thing? Yeah. Do I actually know what I'm talking about? do I know how to put someone on their probationary period or extend a probationary period? Really simple stuff. Yeah. And
you do know all of it. Yeah. You just have that moment of like, oh wait,
do know. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah, but you do have that. I mean, I've even had moments where I'm like, am I as good as I think I am?
Yeah, it is hard. And but I think, you know what, if my one piece of advice is use your network. If you're lucky enough to launch with someone, then that's a massive help. If not, there are people out there, because you've joined groups and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, I've joined some really, really amazing groups. So, you know, the one group is all about females and rising them up and being supportive, and it's a fabulous community. And the other group I joined, Not So Solo, is where we are all solo entrepreneurs and we are just there to support each other, to hold accountability. And that, I think, is really, really important, because when you start out, you can feel it's very lonely. You know, especially if you come from an organization where you've got different departments, teams. It might not just be you. You could be working in another team. You've got this whole camaraderie and community where when you launch a business, it's like me, myself, and I.
Hello, I'm here.
Who am I going to run this by? Oh, no, I have to make the decision type thing.
It's so true. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a formal group, does it?
No.
I've lent on previous people that I've worked with an awful lot in the HR kind of side of things, but also I worked with a company called My People, and the CEO there, Christian, he's founded a business. He's felt the same stress, the same pressure. So really kind of understanding from other people as well. Did you go through this? Is this as hard, or am I just making it hard?
Yeah.
It just kind of makes you feel a bit more at ease that, this is normal.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that I do love is I get to work with people that I think really align with me. And that's something that I've enjoyed. I've got some really amazing clients now that I get along with. I can see, how I'm adding value.
Yeah.
I can see, where their businesses are going. I mean, one of my clients is relatively new as well. So I can see all the stresses he's going through. I'm like, oh, I got you. I know exactly how you're feeling.
Yeah, 100% relate.
Yes. I mean, even one of your clients, in the recruitment industry, I mean, you've had many conversations with him and he's confirmed some of the things that we feel.
Yeah. And I think you saying that you get to work with some great clients, that's the best thing about owning your business is you can kind of go after the kind of clients that you want, and you can work with the clients that align with you, and you don't have to work with those that don't.
Yeah.
And obviously at the beginning, let's be honest, finances come into it, and you ultimately money speaks. So if you're in a position where you need to work with someone, then you make it work. I wouldn't say kind of turn down business, but you do have the luxury of being able to decide a bit more and have choice over who you work with. And I love all my clients. They're all very, very different. But I like that.
Yeah,
it means
gives
that there's a variety.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think that's really cool that it's different personalities, different work styles. And, I'm across different sectors again, and I really enjoy that because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me learning. I like a lot of stimulation, and I like to learn new things. And I think that's been really great as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, even some of the things that I thought in the beginning are not what I think now, if you know what I mean. It's like now I'm definitely more clearer on my proposition. I'm clearer on the people that I want to work with.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, we'll get into that in terms of a next episode where we talk about how we've, I don't know, changed our website. I don't know how many times in our branding.
Multiple.
Yeah. I mean, we actually changed the podcasting colours 2 days ago. So
We did. Yeah, so these are actually out of date, but let's not worry about that.
That was so funny when you phoned me and you were like, so I think we need to pivot on the colours.
Yes, but you know what, that's us. And I think that's the other thing that I have, it was a bit of a reality check for me. It's okay to pivot.
Yeah.
You know what, just because we don't have to be so rigid, just because we decided something 12 months ago doesn't mean we have to stick with that and we are married to that. You know what? Like, this is our business at the end of the day. We're not big enough for a big rebrand to be an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine we're still finding our feet. We're still trying to decide who we are, what is our identity and stuff like that. And I feel like probably in the last 4 or 5 months or so for me particularly, I feel like I'm there. But it took a good kind of 6-7 months to get there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, I've been now solely self-employed since October last year. And I think that I'm a lot clearer on my vision. I'm a lot clearer on certain things, but I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And I think that's part of the process. Yeah. And I mean, I know that it sounds like so silly, but it's, and I got irritated sometimes in the beginning when people were like, just trust the process. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that anymore. But it's so true.
Yeah.
It's actually so true. Yeah. And I think, and you also just need to trust yourself.
Yeah.
And that you know what's right and what needs to be done. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's okay if you make mistakes.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. That is actually how we learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think people say, it takes time. But when you're in it, one day feels like a week and a week feels like a month.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying to me, I don't know if I've done the right thing. It's been a couple of months. And I'm like, it's been a couple of months. That's really not a long time in the grand scheme of things. And then and then we laughed, didn't we? Because I said to you, as soon as you've got clients, you're going to wish you didn't. And it probably took, 2 weeks? And you was like, oh, I miss being not so busy.
I know, 'cause now I'm like manic. But having said that, I actually prefer the busyness.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because, I had too much time on my hands, the spiraling gets bad.
Yeah. And then you overthink and second guess. And it's hard. It is such a hard place to be.
And I know for us, we want to build businesses that are here today, here tomorrow. It's not a business that we are here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah. So we were quite, we stuck to what we strongly believed in and we pivoted where we needed to.
Yeah.
And that was,
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I sorry.
I knew that was going to happen.
For me,
this 2 minutes nonsense. We still know he's there.
For me, look, I want a lifestyle business. There's lots of startups out there. There's lots of businesses that have an exit strategy or they're starting up a company to sell in 5 years or 6 years. That's not it for me. For me, this is lifestyle. I don't want to become a millionaire if it happens. I'm obviously not going to say no. But this is about giving me and anyone that works within my team the flexibility that I think is so important. It's about giving my family a good life. It's lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, obviously, who wouldn't want to be a millionaire? But I'm not chasing that.
Yeah.
What I'm chasing is I want to work with amazing people. I want people to see the value that I bring. And I just want to be financially stable. Yeah. You know what I mean? In whatever form that is. And I want just to be proud of it and to know that I've built this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a sense of achievement. And and I also want my family and friends to be like, you go, girl, you did this. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think,
yeah, definitely.
So, okay.
So I think that kind of brings us to the end of the episode.
I think episode 1 is done and dusted, and I'm hoping in episode 2 I won't feel as nervous.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But you know what? Sometimes nerves, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And next time we're talking about our actual launch days.
Yes. And what an anticlimax that was.
Did you ever get your confetti?
Oh, we'll be talking about that. Did you ever get your marching band?
No. Even though I told my husband to give me one. Yeah, no, I didn't. But we'll discuss that next time. That's fun.
Yes, indeed. So, thank you so much for joining us for the first podcast. We hope you found it entertaining. And as we said, it's very questionable advice. So actually don't take anything we say seriously. We'll be back for episode 2.
Yes. So please, obviously we have to say this, please do like, subscribe. If you've got any questions for us or if you want us to cover anything specific on future episodes, just comment and we will try and do that. But I've enjoyed this
Yeah, me too.
more than I thought I would.
Yeah. Look, the practice round yesterday helped.
Yeah, it did.
Perfect. Thank you so much.